All right, welcome, folks. Welcome to the Bluegrass Sports Network. I'm Bo Craycraft.
I'm Brad Thomas.
Good to have you back. We got to do a couple games this year. So we're at Great Crossings High School tonight for boys soccer action. Wonderful complex, state of the art.
Goodness. I'd put it up there as one of the best in the state.
Well, they just announced it as the best in the state in their own words. But
But
we're here on literally in the final hours of the 2020 regular season. The last Saturday of the season. District tournament starts on Monday. But here we are, and this game has some big implications, possibly.
It all comes down to this game. Right now, the only seed that is determined is Franklin County in the 4th spot in the 41st District. So this outcome tonight will decide who's going to sit on top. Is it going to be the Frankfort High Panthers, or is it going to be Great Crossing Warhawks, or potentially even the Western Hills Wolverines?
Yeah, effectively, you have 3 teams with a chance for the 1 seed and 3 teams with a chance for the 3 seed.
That's right, and we have to get into some special math if Western Hills wins tonight, and I'd say it's going to come down to trigonometry and probably goal differential in some form or fashion.
So that's not going to involve me and you.
No, it's not. No,
All
it's
right.
Not.
Well, let's talk. Great Crossing is coming off of back-to-back district wins. They had to take a 2-week break due to quarantine, so they're ending their season with 3 straight district matchups.
Right.
They had a tough victory in a shootout against Frankfort High on Thursday night. I was blessed to be there. It was a really good game, both from a neutral fan standpoint, which I wasn't, but also from a soccer standpoint.
Right.
Now, you were over at
Western Hills for the Western Hills Franklin County matchup, and once again, that typical 41st District type game. It seems like every time these teams get together, it's going down to penalty kicks, extra time, or something special.
And that was a late golden goal. Awesome way to win a game, terrible way to lose a game.
Yeah.
But Great Crossing also took care of Franklin County 2-0 on Tuesday, so they're sitting at 2-0. Western Hills lost in a shootout to Frankfort High.
That's right.
2-1. You and I did that game. So got a couple teams sitting at 2-1 potentially, depending on what Western Hills does tonight, or Great Crossings will lock it up 3-0. So let's take a quick break. We'll come back after a couple commercials and maybe try to highlight a few key players to watch tonight.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Thank you guys for joining us on the Bluegrass Sports Network. We'll be right back.
Running a business takes a lot of focus and dedication. Keeping up with the ever-changing tax laws and keeping up with all the numbers behind your business, while necessary, can cause distraction and even a little anxiety. That's where Charles T. Mitchell, certified public accountants, come in. They've been helping local businesses run smoothly since 1964. They've got the experience and quality you deserve, and they'll put your mind at ease. Taxes, accounting, and assurance services for your business. Charles T. Mitchell.
Visit Lex by default is community focused. We're here to stimulate the economy locally and keep our hospitality industry running. When we made the switch to traditional bank, it was so easy. We're treated like we are the biggest client that traditional has. They're our neighbors, they're in our community, they're with us side by side. I'm Patricia Knight, Vice President of Finance and Operations with Visit Lex, and we're a community partner of Traditional Bank.
18 people.
All right, folks, we're back on the Bluegrass Sports Network. I'm Bo Craycraft, joined tonight by Brad Thomas. We got about 3:18 on the clock. Teams are warming up. And why don't you kick us off by talking maybe about a few folks we might want to keep an eye out tonight on the Western Hills side.
You know, Western Hills has been battling the injury bug, and losing Lincoln Maddox just a few games ago has had Coach Mangum restructuring his whole back line. I think we'll see several different folks back there tonight, but I think a lot of it's going to fall on the shoulders of Josh Lumpkins and also the holding midfielder Jack Caldwell to see how he can go back and help the back four against a very strong Great Crossing team. And, you know, it's one of the things that when we are talking about Western Hills, goal scoring is going to become the biggest point of this game for them, is they've got to put something in the back of the net, and hopefully they can make a good game out of this with Great Crossing.
Well, you can see Josh Lumpkins there on screen, and he is a very nice outside back for the Western Hills, but he also likes to get up into the attack. Also point out they have a pretty seasoned goalkeeper in Matthew Meyer. Got him on screen there.
Yeah, Matthew had some big saves against Franklin County. And, you know, if we go to penalty kicks, which seems like every one of these District 41st matchups ends up going to, he could be in the spotlight as well.
Well, over on the Great Crossing side, Thursday night we got to see that they have a couple really big difference makers. They have a couple brothers by the name of Welch. Preston Welch was number 9. He scored a goal and had an assist, but his brother Austin plays more of kind of that number 8 box to box, or maybe even that defensive mid, and he just does a very nice job of reading the game, making plays.
They are really the crux of their offense. Both of them are leading the team for goals, with the younger brother, Preston, with 6 goals on the season. And then on the assist side, it's the other brother that has 4 that leads the team. So you can really see that midfield attack of Great Crossing, that is the engine that drives this machine. And I think Western Hills early on is going to try and fill them out. And as Nick Maxwell, the coach for Great Crossing, said, the biggest opponent they've had thus far is time. They have not had enough time to gel together, and it's going to come down to Bo and the way they play that midfield. And if the brothers Welch can combine, it's going to be a long night for Western Hills.
Well, you can see Preston Welch there taking a little breather right before the game. Coach Maxwell is just in front of him with the blue hat. Nick Maxwell's in his 2nd year at Great Crossing. They're a new addition here to the 41st District. Prior to that, he spent 3 years, I believe, at Scott County.
That's
so
right.
Works here in Scott County.
And
they had a dream season last
my
year.
goodness.
14 seniors.
It was a Disney movie, and it ended with the district title, and they're looking to repeat this year. The school's not been in the district for very long. It hasn't been in existence for very long, but they're already setting themselves up as having quite the legacy going forward. One of the big things that Great Crossing has going for them, numbers. Nick told me that he dresses 54 people across his 3 teams. And when you compare that to the schools in Franklin County, it's a big difference. And when you have that many people, it's easy to find talent. And
now, on the opposite side, you got Coach Chad Mangum. He's in his 4th or 5th year?
I think it's actually his 6th year.
Okay.
And, this year has been the best year that Chad's had. They're 7-2-2 and looking to potentially bring home a district title in the first time in his coaching career.
Now, I see B.J. Steverson is on one of his assistants.
That's right, and Adam Patton is the other
Adam
assistant.
Patton, okay.
And, this a new coaching staff under Mangum for this year, and we're looking for the build-up from their JV team for next year, and Patton and Steverson work with that group of kids predominantly. But I think tonight we're going to see a senior-dominated team for Western Hills, and it starts from the top with Wade Sutley and finishes in the back with Matthew Meyer.
Well, you talk about numbers on the Great Crossing side, and, Western Hills can't keep up with that. But I did officiated a game earlier in the season, and he does have some numbers on the JV side. He was able to play some middle schoolers. So, Coach Mangum has really tried to aggregate kids because, like you talked about, to compete against a Great Crossing or a region, they're in a Region 11 school.
Right.
You've got to try to develop those kids that maybe don't play club.
That's right.
And as you and I were setting up, that's one of the real advantages to Great Crossing and even across town at Scott County is they have a growing, developing club. I just noticed this week that Kamisi Campbell, who's the director of coaching, was named the competitive boys coach, youth coach of the season by KISA, Kentucky Youth Soccer. Kamisi was watching the other night, so maybe he's watching tonight. But I actually got to work with Kamisi when he first moved to Frankfort, and he's just a great coach, and he's trying to teach the kids to play the right way. Not the kick and run, but be confident on the ball, take people on.
And there are a few of his players on the Western Hills team, but when you start going through these rosters and figuring out who's on the club teams, this Great Crossing team, predominantly these kids play club. They're playing soccer year-round, and that advantage is noted on the field. And I think we'll see a lot of those GFC players making an impact in this game.
All right, well, let's take a quick break. The guys are making their way out. They're making a few announcements. We'll be right back and get this game kicked off. Thanks for joining us on the Bluegrass Sports Network.
Hi, I'm Sarah Neely. I'm the financial manager at Mill Ridge Farm. Whenever you transition financial institutions, there's a tremendous amount of paperwork involved. Traditional banks streamlined this paperwork, and they just made it very simple. Traditional Bank is a locally owned bank that allows us to operate on an international platform. They make my life better, they make my job easier, and they make Mill Ridge a better place.
CTMCPA.com. Running a business takes a lot of focus and dedication. Keeping up with the ever-changing tax laws and keeping up with all the numbers behind your business, while necessary, can cause distraction and even a little anxiety. That's where Charles T. Mitchell, certified public accountants, come in. They've been helping local businesses run smoothly since 1964. They've got the experience and quality you deserve, and they'll put your mind at ease. Taxes, accounting, and assurance services for your business. Charles T. Mitchell, CTMCPA.com.
Great Crossing High School holds safety of all student athletes first and foremost. We're proud to partner with the team of physicians from Bluegrass Orthopedics.
All right, folks, as you can see, both teams have lined up. We just finished the national anthem. Western Hills is in the away black kits.
Western Hills in the away white
kits. I'm sorry. I'm still getting used to that rule change that the KHSA made a couple years ago.
They're following the European soccer model.
I like it.
I do too.
I like kids wearing school colors at home. But I'm still old school, used to the American kind of tradition of the home team wearing white. So looks like Great Crossing is going to get us started.
You know, as we look at that Western Hills lineup tonight, we got a few changes, and Coach Mangum, anticipating the speed of Great Crossing, is changing the back four that we've seen the entire season. He's now got Josh Lumpkins going to play in that center back position, trying to replace the speed that they lost with Lincoln Maddox going down to injury. And, you know, the other one that you're going to see back there that you should take note of is Zach Hurst. Senior's going to be starting at the on the left back position that Lumpkins is moving in from. So I think that's going to be the big changes that you're going to see in the lineup for Western Hills. From the Great Crossing side, their lineup's going to be the same as what you saw on Thursday night in Frankfort. And when you look at this lineup, it's loaded with seniors. I think some players to watch. You've got what is a person described as a world-class sprinter on the left wing. That's Isaac Moore, number 20, senior. They'll look to get some width with him and some speed. Coach Nick Maxwell talked about early on they're going to try and get deep down the field and look to cross the balls back to their midfielders for some opportunities. Right beside Moore, you're going to have Braden Ward playing striker. And then on the right wing, you'll have Rodolfo Flores. They're all sitting in front of the player that we are going to watch tonight, and that's Preston Welch, number 9. Keep an eye on him. He's only a sophomore, but he plays years ahead of his age. And he came to this team after playing with the FC Cincinnati club team. Great Crossing starting off here, and the first ball is put in off of Zach Hurst there playing that left back starting for the first time this season. Got Lucas Nance trying to make something happen on the right side. He's coming down with a head of steam trying to find Wade Sutley, the senior. But that's going to be shepherded off by the experienced center back, number 15, and that is Dane Childers for Great Crossing that was able to shepherd that out. Our keeper's Connor Diaz, who is actually a replacement keeper for Great Crossing tonight. The starting keeper for most of the season, Michael Moeller, went down with injury, Bo.
That was a scary situation. I was hoping to get an update tonight. Did you get an update?
I did get an update. He's doing better from what I was able to gather from the team, but he's unable to play tonight. So it'll be a question whether he's going to be back for districts.
That's a tough situation. I mean, it was very scary because he was so far away from the play, and you know, we were there, and honestly, I didn't see him fall. But I was good. It was really good to see him up on his feet, and I actually texted Coach Maxwell after the game because I was just curious, and at that point, he was still at the hospital, and Diaz came in. Played very well, seasoned kid. He had played goal some already this year. And,
you know, he's a former field player. Been working a lot in the off season with with BJ over at GS Footbox in Lexington, working on his keeper skills. And,
sounds like another kid.
It sounds like another kid. But lo and behold, he's in the starting lineup in the game that will decide the 41st District. Here we see the player we tell to watch is Welch, and he puts a beautiful through ball, but it is handled nicely by Matthew Meyer.
Now, I just noticed something on screen. I don't see number 7, Rodolfo Flores, out there. And I was trying to look for him in the pregame when we were talking about key players.
That's right. It looks like it's Tristan Moran that is in, a club player for Georgetown Football Club on the right wing there. He was the person that put in the winning PK for the game on Thursday night against Frankfort High.
And it was quite the finish. It was top shelf.
Yeah, it was one of those that I'm sure he's glad you were able to record the video for that one, because that's one he's going to show around to his friends through the next few weeks.
This is Dice. He plays that kind of right in front of the back two center backs, and he just has a really nice tempo to his game, and very good at winning those duels, 50-50 balls, and keeping everything in front of him.
Both teams are lined up in a 4-3-3 formation, so it's going to be interesting to see these the tactics play out.
Yeah.
Western Hills with the interception there and unable to get the ball out, so we'll have a throw in for Great Crossing.
Now, earlier in the season, we worked the Frankfort High game. That was and we did a Bardstown senior night as well, which was very early in the season. Western Hills was playing a pretty high line. Are they still doing that, or as the season has gone, have they kind of adjusted?
Well, as the personnel has changed, so have they. And, you don't have the speed that Lincoln Maddox, one of the games we worked on, we talked about how he was able to
He was the myth, the myth, the Maddox. I can't remember what I said.
The myth, the man, the Maddox.
Yeah, he was amazing that night.
And, he went down with an ACL tear, just talked with his mom today. He's scheduled for surgery with Darren Johnson over at UK Sports Medicine on the 27th, so we'd like to give a well wishes to Lincoln on that upcoming surgery, and hopes that he'll be back and ready to go back to soccer and potentially a career in the military as he's wanted. That's Wade Sutley going offsides there on the quick call. The pass was from Lucas Nance from the right wing. That's something that Western Hills struggled with this year. A lot of straight up the middle runs, not a lot of diagonal offense, and it's just they're very susceptible to being offsides, especially with a team playing a high line and a offsides trap.
That was Trey Redman, one of the two starting center backs for Great Crossing. He plays the ball out wide.
Great Crossing coming in on that right wing, trying to find friends there, but ball is put out of bounds for a goal kick. This will be senior Matthew Meyer going to take the goal kick. So far, Bo, it looks like a pretty even game as far as the possession war, but I think both teams are just still feeling each other out right now.
Definitely. You had a decent chance there early from Great Crossings on that ball through the middle, but Matthew Meyer able to make that save, and since then it's, like you said, that's a good ball out wide there from Wade Sutley looking for Smith.
Casey Smith on the ball there. Casey trying to find help. He finds Chime Tope, who tries to force it back through, but now we're looking at a counter from Great Crossing, and that's a nice play there by Stefan Rudich to extinguish that potential counter. Bo, I think we're going to see a lot of that counter activity from Great Crossing tonight. There's Raphael Fricker, really the star of the game for Western Hills in that matchup against Franklin County. It's Wade Sutley down deep on the left wing, ball carrying it to the flag. Casey Smith now on the ball, looking around, trying to find some offense.
Looking for a little switch there. It looked like, is that Caldwell,
that
number
is
3?
Caldwell, who's moved up from the 6 all the way up to the attacking end of the field. Josh Lumpkins, we talked about him earlier, able to muscle off the Great Crossing player for the ball there. Baylor Brooker trying to find Lucas Nance, but a little heavy with the pass.
You mentioned Isaac Moore out here, number 20. He caused a lot of problems on that left side Thursday night against Frankfort High. Created a couple of situations where he got to the byline and looked for that cutback.
That's a good ball from Sutley again. Finds Lucas Nance streaking down the right side, trying to find a cross. good defending by Great Crossing again, and you'll watch them try and run the counter. The line is high again tonight, Bo, and I think we're going to see that continued work by Great Crossing in their midfield to try and pop it over to that back four.
Lucas Nance wins that ball. He finds Sutley in the middle field. He has time to turn. Good step there. Great crossing.
Just spent too much time looking around and not aware of the surroundings. He had a defender.
I thought that was Isaac Moore with the win, but he was so central. I was afraid to say it, but it was. He was tracking back.
The formation that Coach Maxwell's pulling out tonight, you're going to see a lot of play from their midfield. They really depend on that midfield to run the engine. And he said, one of the big things that he's looking for is those tracking back midfielders. That's going to be the difference. The better they track back, the more possession they're going to maintain. This is going to be a possession game, and Western Hills, for most of their games this year, has dominated possession. So it's a little bit of a battle of wills to see who's going to hang on to the ball the most. Cause
that was Dice spraying it out there. I think that was Welch. He cuts it back. Early attempt there.
Yeah, but, that was a shot on goal, but it was pretty well defended by Western Hills there.
Yeah, he was under pressure. It was a really nice ball by Dice to kind of try to spring.
That's Fricker pushing it out to Casey Smith. Casey on that left wing trying to get the ball on his foot. We got Wade Sutley now at the top of the box. Interception by the center back there for Great Crossing, and now they'll set up their possession game again.
He had Lucas Nance out there on that right wing, just couldn't quite connect.
That's Moran trying to find the ball there, taken away by Jock Caldwell. A little ragged right here in the midfield right now.
You kind of expect this. Both teams are probably jacked to play this game. It's a good game. Kids are getting up for it. They know the implications.
Bo, you can hear the wind a little bit whistling through here. There's a chance for rain tonight, and as a son of a father of a keeper who has difficulty sometimes when it's wet, I anticipate that pressure being on these keepers if we get some moisture coming in. Hopefully it's going to hold off, though.
This is Preston Welch. He plays Isaac Moore in.
That's a
good first touch. But you just see there, Welch doesn't need much space to turn that shoulder, and Meyer plays it quickly, though, for Western Hills.
That's Zach Hurst bringing the ball up, trying to find Chinmay Tope. Chinmay trying to get the offense started for Western Hills, drifts to the middle of the field to switch to Lucas Nance. Lucas is the leading assist provider for Western Hills this year and is looking to try and get some crosses. Here, they put in a ball here for Wade Sutley, but Connor Diaz coming out with a head of steam to be able to make that gather and turn ball back around for Great Crossing.
That's a really good read there.
It's a Great Crossing with control of the ball coming across midfield. Western Hills trying to surround the ball, but once again, good ball movement by Great Crossing, and Josh Lumpkins, who we talked about earlier, with a great defensive play there to win the ball. Ball still in play. Great Crossing settling it down here, just trying to find some passes to maintain possession. Wade Sutley on the point of attack there for Western Hills, just trying to impede some of the movement from the Great Crossing passes, but really they're just playing pitch and catch right now. And
they're just trying to move the defense a little bit, see if they can create little pockets to exploit. Like right there, that was a good little break of the line to Dice.
The ball movement is key for Great Crossing. The more they move the ball, the more dangerous they're going to be. And, Western Hills maintains a lot of possession, but most of their goals this year have been on the counter-type plays, and they don't really have this type of play up before their goals. Great Crossing, on the other hand, has some good ball movement and typically builds up those crosses. I know, Bo, you saw a great cross the other night. One of the goals that Great Crossing put in was worthy of an ESPN highlight.
We share the Bluegrass Energy power play of the game. It was a goal scored by Doug Ginling on air. I had trouble telling who that was, but Cal Oakes, who I think is a news reporter here, he clarified that. And I went back and listened on air. Daniel Rogers, who joined me, actually said he thought it might be Ginling. But it was a wonderful cross. But I got to be honest with you, it was a one-touch finish.
Oh, it was
from a tough angle from Ginling. And so you don't want to take anything away from that. I mean, it was a good ball, but the finish was just as quality.
Yeah, it was one of those things that typically goals like that are scored on levels higher than high school.
I talked to Coach Brad Kennedy over at Frankfurt High. They had a good look at that goal because of the angle. It was right in front of their bench, and he said, Ginling basically put it the only place he needed to put it. If it goes anywhere else, it's probably covered by the goalie. So very nice goal and worthy of that game. You had two really nice goals, and then you had two goals that you don't normally see. Free kick that made its way through the walls and the wickets of a goalkeeper. And then you had a rebound off the face of Ethan Vermillion for the second goal. So you had two kind of wonky plays there. But good game.
The beautiful game sometimes not so beautiful. When
this
you
is
look
Welch.
At the score.
He's trying to play. Is that Moran?
Yes, that's Moran. But once again, good defense.
He didn't quite get what he wanted on it in that angle. That was good defense. Was that a Hurst?
That was Hurst that pinched him off with Lumpkins coming in to help. Left-footed Moran was unable to really put a whole lot of power behind that. Matthew Meyer puts the ball back in play, trying to find Casey Smith, but he finds a great crossing head instead. Throw in from Hurst. Over the head of Fricker, and great crossing once again takes over possession. Bo, early on, I'd say great crossings winning the possession game.
Yeah, and they've created a couple chances there. So
Meyer trying to come out with Jack Caldwell there in the midfield, trying to find someone to string some passes with, and Western Hills just hitting their passes a little heavy. Baylor Brooker now finds Lucas Nance. Lucas and Chime Tope combining here in the midfield. Looking for Jack Caldwell, trying to find Raphael Fricker, who scored from there.
He was trying to repeat history there.
He was, and a little bit more on that one.
Well, we have a break in action here for a substitution, and with that, I want to just highlight Traditional Bank. They're one of our sponsors, and we're very thankful for them. In the best of times and those that are more challenging like we face today with COVID, Traditional Bank's local team stands by your side as your trusted partner, your friendly neighbor, and your biggest fan. When it's time for a better banking relationship, it's time to make the switch. Make that switch now. Traditional Bank, member FDIC.
And we got a lot of friends over at Traditional Bank. You got Annabeth Bobbitt, who former sports great for Franklin County. Mike Feldman, whose kids have played at Franklin County for a long time. Just a good bunch of people there at Traditional Bank.
And I know Zach Moore real well. Zach's daughter, we covered her this morning at Frankfurt High on the girls' soccer side. Claire, he's got a younger daughter that's about the same age as mine. And then I think they have a third lender, Tisha Allison, I believe.
Yeah,
so
Tisha's a good one. And, Bill Iverson, one of the heads for Traditional for many years out of Paris, just a all-around good guy. And it's just nice to have a bank like that stepping up to help bring you broadcasts like this of high school action in this 41st District matchup.
All right, well, that's our first look. There's Rodolfo Flores entering the game. So we thought he was going to start. He is going to play, so that's great news. I was afraid maybe he'd picked up an injury, but he is a dynamic player, even though he's not starting, but that doesn't mean he's not going to come in here and make an impact because he's very dynamic.
And I think with his substitution, Coach Maxwell's now kind of changed their formation to a 3-5-2 with Flores typically playing on the wing. He's now got him
and you see immediately he's pressuring. He's got very high energy, a lot of speed, but he's also technical. He's not just a guy that's going to try to run past you. He's going to beat you with some skill.
It's a long ball to Diaz, who gathers it with ease and looks for a throw and able to find the midfielder there. It's the captain, number 24, Austin Welch, wheeling and dealing, trying to find some offensive movement for great crossing.
He found his brother, Austin, and he tried to spray it out wide to – I think that was Moran.
Yeah. Western Hills with the takeaway there, but once again it's taken back away by great crossing.
And that's Welch. And one of the things I noticed a lot on Thursday is he will pick up the ball and several different places. I think Coach Maxwell gives him some freedom. Sometimes you'll see him really come more into like what you would call a center mid role, like that defensive mid to get on the ball. Sometimes he'll play more like a traditional 9 and be the top of the spear.
You know, as you watch from our vantage point, you're able to see how Nick, the Coach Maxwell, is able to push up his backs to put some offensive pressure on Western Hills. Western Hills not mounted a whole lot of attack. That's a ball straight to Meyer.
And that was Dice. And I think I bring him up because he's a big part of why you can do that. You know, your outside backs get forward. It leaves you a little bare in the back with your 2 center backs, but when you have a guy like Dice that can cover so much ground and he reads the game so well and has such experience, you know, he covers a lot of that space for them in those moments where they could be subject to the counter.
You know, and it's just as we keep talking about the senior-dominated great crossing team here.
A little mistake there from Caldwell. This is Moore.
That's a nice play by Rudich. Trying to find Tope. Tope with a head of steam, but he's taken down by Flores. Flores able to retain possession for great crossing.
There's that outside back. You could see him making that run.
And not recognized by Western Hills.
Dice didn't choose to go that way this time. This is Lucas Nance.
It's going to be a throw in for Western Hills. Western Hills getting ready to rotate some players in. Looks like we got Raul Hernandez coming in. He's going to take Rafael Fricker's spot. Looks like Caleb Stratton's going to take Lucas Nance's spot. First time we've seen Stratton on this end of the field. He's typically going to play center back for Western Hills, but tonight he's going to be on the right wing. And then you have the sophomore Kenyon Thomas over there on the left wing.
Kenyon had a good game on Thursday night. He drew a PK and then somewhat surprisingly stepped up and took it as well. A lot of folks probably expected Wade Sutley to step up and take that, but I think Mangum was going with his gut, and it was a good call.
Well, and it's one of those things as a keeper in his club days. It's one of those things he's understanding of where a PK needs to go. I think helped him on that.
This is Trey Redman looking out wide. That was Moran. I'm sorry about that. Is he going to get there? He is. Going to do a little pullback. Try to swing it in with the left.
We've got a dangerous ball there and a good shot, but right at Matthew Meyer. Good read by Meyer.
That was Ginling again, and that's not too far from where he finished on Thursday night.
You know, that was took a little bit off of that for accuracy, but it was still a nice strike.
It's a bad giveaway there. This is Welch, and that's a good tackle from
Hernandez. Hernandez, a sophomore who's the leading scorer along with Wade Sutley for this team. Has not played as many minutes as Sutley, but very proficient in his scoring.
And he came up big on Thursday night with that golden goal. There he is again, trying to play Chimney Tope in.
Yep. They tried to swing the ball to Thomas at that point, but we got a handball in the middle of the field.
A little unlucky there on the Wolverines. I think they went a little bit early, or maybe the ball was still moving. So I was on air today and Thursday I was talking to Daniel. We were talking about, I don't know if you saw the news, but you know, FIFA's considering some rule changes.
Yes.
And one of which is a quick kick to yourself on these free kicks, which it kind of blows my mind a little bit because, you know, it's just so radical and different.
You know, we've seen them adopt some changes, you know, having the keeper be able to play the ball to his own players on a goal kick inside the box. Yep. That was always a forbidden thing, and I think that's been a good move.
Another rule change that I don't think you would like as a parent of a goalkeeper is the allowing the ball to outswing, you know, to swing out of play but back into play on corner kicks. Yep. My initial thought is, man, that could create a lot of really tight in front of goal collisions.
No, I think you're right. And it's, you know, a lot of these skilled players can bend a ball so far that it brings
really nice cross there from Flores.
That's a nice play by Meyer to push that over.
Referee checking over to check on him because I think he may be collided a little bit with that. But it was a great cross from Flores. Great crossing, got a head on it. and it was looping over top of Matthew Meyer's head, but he is able to recover. And
that was one of those. The shot almost ended up on our Sports Center highlights, but the save might.
That might be a power play, depending on how this game turns out. It definitely has kept us scoreless.
Corner being swung in now, trying to find bodies, and it's dangerous right up front. I think the Great Crossing player was a little bit off sides there and unable to touch that ball.
Great Crossing's created several good opportunities off corner kicks against Frankfort High. They have a couple different setups.
It's Baylor Brooker who's playing at right back position. The other night was his first experience at right back for Western Hills. In club, he does play in the backs area of the field. So that was his first experience for the high school team, and he did quite well. He was able to thwart some of the efforts that Franklin County was putting in front of him. Kenyon Thomas backtracking to find Josh Lumpkins, and they'll go back with Meyer to swing it around. And Meyer trying to find some friends up front, but all we see is blue jerseys around that ball.
This is Welch. He looks for Dice.
Dice really has some height in the middle of the field, and on those corner kicks, you know he's going to be a target.
Yeah. This is Childers. He connects with Redman, his center back counterpart. Good little pass there from Redman to Moran.
Moran left-footed, trying to cut in and get a shot, but Western Hills defense was able to surround him. It's Kenyon Thomas having the ball taken away from him, but Josh Lumpkins there to try and keep anything from happening, and Western Hills able to push the ball out for a corner kick.
Now you talked about Lumpkins sliding over from the left back spot to that center back spot, but that also takes a little bit of that attacking component away from Western Hills because Lumpkins likes to press forward. He's got tremendous speed.
Yes, and he's just a headsy player, and that's the reason why he can take over that center back role is his understanding of soccer is quite good. Meyer takes the corner kick and was able to push it out to Jack Caldwell, who's looking up the field for Wade Sutley. Western Hills trying to set up that counter again, but Great Crossing's having none of it. We're 16 minutes left in this first half, and so far we've seen a few good chances, and here might be the best chance of the night for Western Hills. Wade Sutley winds up, but Dice is there to block that.
Yeah, Sutley had a little space, tried to get it set on that right foot.
That's Jim Tope with the win.
That's a really good win there.
Still with the ball, trying to find someone. Looks like he's found Kenyon Thomas over there on the wing.
Western Hills putting together a little bit of pressure here. It's an early shot.
That's a shot from about 40 for Jack Caldwell.
Jack Caldwell.
Nothing that was going to challenge Connor Diaz there in the goal. Diaz, this is his second start of the season due to injury, and he's yet to be tested at this point.
Distribution from Diaz there to Moore. Through Gidling. And now that's Welch.
It's the older Welch, the holding midfielder Welch. He's got the attacking little brother there, and number 9 sitting in the center of the field for Great Crossing. That's Raul Hernandez with the ball, trying to find someone. He found Kenyon Thomas on that left wing with a heavy touch off a potential cross.
Quick distribution from Diaz, looking for Welch.
And Stratton keeps the ball in play. See Great Crossing trying to get something started here, but Western Hills is keeping their numbers back. So that's helped prevent a lot of those through balls that Great Crossing has been trying to work.
Good communication there from Meyer to call off the defender. Both of our goalies are looking to distribute pretty quickly.
That's a left back. Zach Hurst trying to run up the sidelines on that change of possession. It's the older Welch finding little brother Welch. They swing the ball around, trying to find something. That's Gidley looking for the ball now. Swinging it back around to the older Meyer. Western Hills is really packing the box right now.
Yeah, they got a lot of numbers behind the ball. Flores tries to set up that left foot.
That's Chime Tope with the takeaway there.
It's the second time there in the last couple of minutes he's come up with big wins. Western Hills just struggling to get out of their kind of the defensive half at this point.
There's a foul right in the center of the box. That was Meyer fouling Tope. Will be a free kick for Western Hills.
Was that Welch?
It was Welch.
I knew what you meant.
Yep. So we got Stefan Rudich going to step up and take it for Western Hills, trying to find someone to pass to, and he's going out to Kenyon Thomas.
Good little ball there. First touch wasn't terrible, but Kenyon just couldn't get off his foot. And here we go.
And that's a good play by Josh Lumpkins again.
That's exactly why Mangum has him there. He can match that speed.
Wade Sutley to Thomas.
Sutley's continuing that run. Thomas will play him in.
That looks like a foul again. They're going to play. Nope, he's going to go ahead and
call it back.
that.
I think he tried to play on, but
it was such a heavy foul that he was unable to keep his balance very
long. He lost a little bit of that advantage he had because I think he had gotten a shoulder past.
Going to be the left wing. Kenyon Thomas going to try and swing the ball in, it looks like. Now they're going to have Chime Tope come over. Thought they might have gone with the left-footed Thomas there, but they're going to bring the right-footed Tope in.
Try to maybe swing that in. He's going to want to put this in between that PK spot and the 6, really put the keeper in no man's land. Good ball. There's that dice that you mentioned. Big frame, going to be really good in the air.
That's Hurst trying to find somebody. And it'll go out for a goal kick for Diaz.
We talked about this a little bit with Frankfort High playing Great Crossing. You know, Frankfort High's not going to be able to match the height of Great Crossings. I don't think Western Hills is either. Mm-hmm. So you saw them going a lot of quick kicks,
yep,
or going short, as some folks say, trying to create different angles, maybe trying to get 1v1 situations in space.
Yeah, trying to mitigate that height advantage. And Great Crossing's a tall team, and a lot of soccer's played in the air, and when you have that height advantage from a former volleyball background, it's tough to beat height.
You can't coach height.
That's exactly right.
Like you can't coach speed, you can't coach height. And the argument being, if you're not going to win the duel, try not to get in one.
Yep, and that was a nice play by Lumpkins on a beautiful pass. And here we see Western Hills trying to come up. Kenyon Thomas with a head of steam finds Wade Sutley in that holding 9. He's got to push it up to Caleb Stratton. Stratton just trying to keep the ball in bounds. Tries to find somebody. And it looks like it's going to be a throw-in for Western Hills. Some good movement there by Western Hills.
And it started with Joshua Lumpkins in the back, and he was able to connect. Not sure what happened there.
I think Hernandez thought he heard a whistle and just went up and picked the ball up. And
yeah, I think he did. I don't know. We got some cowbell here in the stands, but he clearly thought he heard something.
Yep, as he chipped the ball up to his hand like he thought it was going to be thrown in again. So that attack from Western Hills kind of fizzles out from
a little unlucky there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So far, I think Coach Mangum has to be happy with the effort that he's seeing from his Wolverines.
This is Rodolfo Flores. He's got a guy out wide.
Once again, Lumpkins, the man we talked about, is taking on that Lincoln Maddox type role for Western Hills tonight.
This is
Baylor
Welch.
Brooker coming in. Heavy
again,
tackle.
There's a spot where he's kind of floated over to the left side. He's trying to find a little new space to exploit. Gidling will take the throw in.
That was a good run there by the older Welch. And ball's just going to swing a little wide, and keeper Meyer is able to get it and try and turn up the field.
Is that Aiden Bryant that got a touch there?
I couldn't see who it was that got the touch.
I've known Aiden since he was a youngster. I coached him a little bit when he was a U10. I saw him walking in this evening before the game, and he said he's coming back from a little like hip issue, so he's limited on time. So he said he's playing about 20, 25 minutes a game right now. So not only are they coming back from COVID, also they're trying to get some of these kids that they probably expected to be, on the field quite a bit. I mean, Aiden's a junior, super talented young man. Plays club in Lexington, I think.
that's the hard part of what COVID has done for this soccer season. You got all the games that Great Crossing missed that they had to play, and guess what? They're all in the same week. And it's hard on these young men to come out and play in a physical environment game after game and not having that recovery time. But so far, so good for Great Crossing. They seem to be handling the endurance factor at this point.
Western Hills is playing back-to-back to close their season, so they're not going to give too much sympathy to the Warhawks.
That's a good save by Meyer. We've only got 8 minutes left in this first half, and, at this point I think Western Hills has to be happy. I think Great Crossing has not been able to dominate that final third like they would have liked. And
well, they are having a hard time figuring out how to kind of break that really compact back line.
That's a good pass.
They've created a couple situations over here on this wing, but just haven't been able to get that final ball. This is Welch. He just kind of played it back in the middle there looking for more.
Yep, that was a headsy play.
We got a couple substitutions here, so with this break in action, I wanted to highlight Charles T. Mitchell. Charles T. Mitchell was our first sponsor to jump on board here at the Bluegrass Sports Network. We're very thankful for the folks down on Main Street in Frankfort, Greg McClavick, Jim Klaus. I know there's a couple other partners there, but we're very thankful for their support. Without them, we wouldn't be able to provide this coverage.
That's Welch with the corner, trying to find a head there in the middle of the pitch, but unable to, and Western Hills has avoided that offensive move by Great Crossing, and we'll see if they're able to keep from another shot. That's a shot with power from –
is that Austin Welch?
That was Austin Welch, and that was a great strike.
Good save there by Meyer. It's a couple saves now he's had to make. Great Crossings is starting to turn the screw a little bit. And
that was Lucas Nance ready to move without the ball. And
a little unforced error there. It's one of those things where he hasn't got to touch the ball as much as he probably likes to. This is Welch, a nice little move there, finds his brother. They're really trying to exploit this right wing.
That's Kenyon Thomas coming back and playing a little defense to take the ball out of bounds. Western Hills has done good to keep their numbers back and keep some semblance of the formation.
But if you look out here, you can't really see it on screen because we're zoomed in a little bit. They literally have no one really beyond kind of about 30 yards.
Yeah. That was a good block shot by Stefan Rudich. They're right in the middle of the box. You heard some moans from the Great Crossing fans thinking there was a handball there, but it looked like it was a good clean block. Got Lucas Nance trying to find Casey Smith, but he's 1 against 5 right now. As we always say, he's on the island right now.
He is definitely on an island. This is Austin Welch looking out wide here to Ginling. He just plays the ball in the box.
He's offsides.
Going to be offside there.
Came from an offside position back onside, and the AR was all over it and ready to raise his flag. So far, it's been a very clean game. We've not seen a whole lot of fouls, not a whole lot of heavy tackles.
That is Aiden Bryan, number 5, looking like he's playing up top there. And he was guilty of getting a little bit too far in behind.
Goal kick from Meyer and goes straight back to Dice, and Great Crossing was ready to be in business until that pass right there that was intercepted. We got Raul Hernandez now finding Lucas Nance. A little heavy, but Lucas makes up for it with a good touch and some speed. We got a burst of speed down the right side, trying to slot the ball in.
Misplayed there.
Oh, and they're able to keep the ball out of the back of the net.
Not sure what happened there, but Diaz wasn't able to collect it, and not sure who that defender was, but here we go.
Here's the speedster we talked about.
Lumpkins comes over.
That's some good defending.
That was really nice defending. Moore shrugged off a little tackle, but I think Lumpkins did enough to throw him off his gait, and he couldn't quite get that left foot loaded.
Well, you saw the speed of Lumpkins, and I think that's the biggest change that Coach Mangum has made tonight. You
said Moore was a world speed or world-class sprinter. I think Josh Lumpkins just showed that he might be too.
Yeah, that was an excellent play to track down the runner. Wind's starting to pick up here, Bo.
It is a little bit. It's still a beautiful night. hopefully we can get this in before any weather comes, if it's coming. Although I did a football game last night with Paul Curry, one of the former football coaches over at Western Hills. His daughter was down in Louisiana last night, so while we were doing the game, he was getting updates on her having to deal with this tropical storm. So she had lost electricity, and they were bunkered in. So praying for all those folks that have been impacted by this storm. Got a substitution here.
Substitution coming in. It looks like Wade Sutley coming in, replacing the sophomore Kenyon Thomas.
Right at 3 minutes here on the clock.
Great crossing with the throw in. I think we see Reagan Disney coming in for the first time for a great crossing.
I think this is Childers looking for Welch.
Welch in the middle of the pitch there with his head up trying to find someone to pass to, but the numbers that Western Hills has back are going to keep a lot of those through balls that Great Crossing's wanting to do. Tactically, I think this is what Western Hills has to do to win the game. And I think they played right along with the script that they had written. And Great Crossing's going to have to be creative to come up with something.
They have been patient, though. I don't feel like Great Crossings is forced. They've taken their chances. When they've needed to go back, they've gone back. This is Welch looking for more.
It's good tracking back by Baylor Brooker there.
Ball's going to go out there for a Warhawk throw-in.
We're down to 1:50 left in this first half.
Yeah, Coach Mangum would really like to see his boys close this half out. You don't want to give something up here.
Notice Josh Lumpkin, Stephen Riddich sitting back a lot further than they had earlier in this season. It's a good effort by Great Crossing. Let's see if we'll get a shot off here. Another good block by Lumpkins. A little unlucky there with the clearance, but once again, no harm. Senior Wade Sutley trying to get the offense started, but Great Crossing stands up the ball again, and they're back looking for a shot on target.
That's Rodolfo swinging the ball with the left. Nobody was home.
But it seems like every District 41 game we've had this year has gone to PKs, and if this script plays out, we may be having a tension-filled evening.
I've seen enough PKs, I feel like I did a couple Franklin County games 2 years ago with Frankfort High. I did a Western Hills game with you this year. I did the game on Thursday night.
Soccer has to find a way to find a victor, but PKs a lot of times is not my favorite way to find that victor.
I would agree with that.
Western Hills, in the first overtime period, avoided going to PKs by having Raul Hernandez, the sophomore, find the back of the net with 30 seconds left.
This is Casey Smith. He's got a little space, and he's got Nance.
Good ball for Nance.
Good run there.
Good defending, and it's going to be a throw-in with 15 seconds left in this first half. And
yeah, you can see the score there in the background. I think our scorebook's pretty close, but not exact, so official time will be kept on the field. Nance tries to take a long throw-in right in front.
Connor Diaz takes it away from trouble, and that will end our first half on the BSN Network. We've got no score from Great Crossing High School between Western Hills Wolverines and the Great Crossing Warhawks. Bo, take a few minutes for some commercial messages, and we'll be right back with some of our thoughts on that first half.
Thanks
Stay
for
tuned.
watching us on the Bluegrass Sports Network. We'll be right back.
Running a business takes a lot of focus and dedication. Keeping up with the ever-changing tax laws and keeping up with all the numbers behind your business, while necessary, can cause distraction and even a little anxiety. That's where Charles T. Mitchell, certified public accountants, come in. They've been helping local businesses run smoothly since 1964. They've got the experience and quality you deserve, and they'll put your mind at ease. Taxes, accounting, and assurance services for your business. Charles T. Mitchell, CTMCPA.com.
I'm Dr. Jenny Millen. I'm owner and chiropractor at Triple Crown Chiropractic and Wellness. I started this practice in 2010, and Traditional Bank is the 4th bank I've tried. After switching, I feel like I'm home. I'm from a small town, and that hometown feel of knowing that they care about where you are now and where you are going in the future, that is a win-win for me.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Bluegrass Sports Network. I'm Bo Craycraft. I'm joined tonight by Brad Thomas. Brad, it's great to have you back. I think this is our 3rd game together.
It is.
So for those of you guys watching from home, we appreciate you viewing us. Brad, we're tied 0-0, but that doesn't mean, we haven't had some action.
Right.
A couple good saves from Matthew Meyer, but what do you think? We're going to scan over here and take a look. They're kind of in the shadows there. What do you think Coach Maxwell is telling his team right now?
I think what we're going to see is a tactical change from Coach Maxwell. I think he's going to start pushing more numbers up because I don't think Western Hills has really threatened too much his goalkeeper. So I think you're going to see those backs come up and even potentially switch out of the 4-3-3 he played majority of the first half, go more to a 3-5-2, trying to generate a little bit more offense. You saw the width areas of the field were creating chances. They were struggling to go through the center of the field because of all the people that Western Hills had back, but I think that's what we're going to see from Coach Maxwell.
Well, Coach Maxwell, we were talking to him pregame. We were giving him a hard time about having a Chelsea hat on. I always think about Chelsea. I think about Jose Mourinho. He's not there anymore,
right.
But, folks like to give Jose Mourinho a hard time about parking the bus.
Right.
And I'm not going to say Coach Mangum parked the bus because he didn't, but they definitely had a lower block there in the final third and have caused some problems from Great Crossing. So you've made it to halftime. You're 0-0. I think, Mangum probably is not unhappy with the way this game, but he's got to try to create some scoring opportunities too, right?
He does. They're not parking the bus, but I will say the hazard lights are on. They're making sure that they've got numbers back. He made some changes to the starting lineup based off of the speed that he was expecting from Great Crossing, and I think all the chess pieces that he's moved thus far have worked out for him.
I got to agree. I mean, you lose some attack from Lumpkins on the outside, but we saw him twice kind of cover up for, maybe I don't want to call them mistakes, but Great Crossing had some space and were in behind, and he was able to come over and kind of make a defensive stand, and so that's been a good move. And I thought Hurst did a good job out there at left back. So, I think that's one of the nice things about Coach Mangum is he's got a lot of seniors.
Right.
They've got experience. And, so you can put a kid in a new position. I mean, even Caldwell's in a little bit different position tonight than what he's been normal to and what he played last season. So I think at the end of the day, Coach Mangum's probably pretty happy with where he is right now. He's, to win a soccer game, you got to create some goals. Right. I don't know that he wants to go to another shootout. He's already been into one this year, but
and I think too he's trying to figure out how this trigonometry of figuring out who's going to win the 41st district. And he was telling me under his calculations they needed to win 2-0 to finish out on top. And at this pace, I don't see 2 goals coming unless they change some things tactically or we see some kind of change or momentum changer for Western Hills.
Well, we've got a couple minutes here before we end the half, so I just wanted to point you guys to our website. The website is www.kybsn.com. I was telling the folks this morning during the girls' game that we've created little landing pages for each of our schools in Frankfort and Anderson County. You go to the website, up top it says Find Your School. It's got all the Western Hills games, whether it's football, soccer. We've had volleyball. We hope to add basketball and maybe baseball, softball in the spring. We'll also have you can search by sport. So if you just want to watch some soccer, we've had a lot of good soccer games here in the last week. And then you also have a live tab, which has, kind of what's on live or what's going to be on next live. So you can see our next scheduled event. We're adding events kind of as we go with COVID this year. We haven't been able to kind of have a traditional schedule. Next week starts the postseason for soccer. We also have the last week of volleyball, so we're definitely going to be at some volleyball games. I know Frankfort High is going to host their only home volleyball game on Thursday. They're going to host the Flyers. They thought the gym was going to be worked on. Mm-hmm. They're doing a renovation project. COVID kind of has stalled that a little bit. So we'll be there. We're also hoping to potentially be back here next week for the District 41 tournament. For those of you guys that are watching, once you get to the postseason, the KHSAA has some rules. You have to pay for access, so we're trying to find some sponsors. We might, see if we can find some folks that would be willing to help us offset that cost. A large portion of the money goes back to the schools that are playing on the field, and then a small fee goes to KHSA for all that they do. They set up all this. They provide officials, and they've got a great website that we use every time we're live. And so keep your ears out. You can find us not only on our website, but you can also find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram. We share highlights during the week. This week we've done, I think this is our 10th game as a network since Monday.
So you haven't slept much this week is what
we
you're saying.
We haven't slept much last night. But we've been able to just really showcase a lot of good young talent, and that's what our heart is here. We want to showcase soccer players and volleyball players. And so find us, www.kybsn.com. Shoot us we got a contact page there. Shoot us an email. Tell us where you're watching from, and we're just very appreciative.
And I can tell you one thing that is interesting. There's people watching live, but all the people that watch after the game, matter of fact, Canyon and the Western Hills soccer team, they were having a watch party after they got home from the Franklin County game. So they're all watching the games together. So, these games live on much longer than just a live feed. So.
They do, and my son watches it and tells me all the times I was wrong. So,
I have the same feeling,
Well, we're just over 30 seconds before the horn sounds, so we're going to take a real quick break. We'll come back for the final 40 and see, I guess, at least a final 40.
Right.
Might go to extra time with the way this goes, but we thank you for watching the Bluegrass Sports Network. We'll be right back.
Visit Lex by Default is community focused. We're here to stimulate the economy locally and keep our hospitality industry running. When we made the switch to traditional bank, it was so easy. We're treated like we are the biggest client that traditional has. They're our neighbors, they're in our community, they're with us side by side. I'm Patricia Knight, Vice President of Finance and Operations with Visit Lex, and we're a community partner of Traditional Bank.
Running a business takes a lot of focus and dedication. Keeping up with the ever-changing tax laws and keeping up with all the numbers behind your business, while necessary, can cause distraction and even a little anxiety. That's where Charles T. Mitchell, certified public accountants, come in. They've been helping local businesses run smoothly since 1964. They've got the experience and quality you deserve, and they'll put your mind at ease. Taxes, accounting, and assurance services for your business. Charles T. Mitchell, CTMCPA.com.
Welcome back to the Bluegrass Sports Network. You can see players are lined up. Officials are making their way to their position. We're about ready to get the final 40 started. 0-0 here at Great Crossing.
Yeah, the only thing that's changed is the half. There's no score, and we change ends of the field, and we're ready to start the second half. Western Hills will have the opening kick. Jack Caldwell looks like he's going to rip from distance, and he hits a roller to Connor Diaz, who easily handles it and looks to start the Great Crossing offense. You know, Great Crossing showed some great possession statistics, but ultimately it didn't mount to much in the back of the net. So I think from Western Hills' perspective, you're going to see more of the same thing. They're going to keep getting those numbers back and trying to stop those runs down the wings from Great Crossing. Makes you see how many people Nick Maxwell starts pushing up, Bo.
Well, we talked a little bit off air about, you know, Western Hills is pretty short bench. I've probably played 13, 14 guys tonight. Great Crossings hasn't played a ton more than that, but one team's clearly been chasing a little bit more than the other, so you have to figure that fatigue will come in. I mean, again, Western Hills just had a huge, you know, emotional game on Thursday, and now they're right back at it, and they're having to chase a lot. Right. As you can see here, a little turnover there.
I did see one adjustment from Coach Mangum. He now has Wade Sutley out on the left wing and Casey Smith, another senior, going to be playing in the striker position.
And they're flanked on the opposite side there by Lucas Nance. So they got speed on both wings, and maybe he thinks Smith can kind of hold it up and play it into space and let those two guys
Welch
run.
Coming down the end line, and Western Hills able to thwart that quick corner that they had. Wade Sutley puts that one out, and Great Crossings back in business with a throw-in.
That was dangerous. That was Flores, I think, and he looks like he's starting the second half.
Yes. That's Hamner that was that threw the ball in when we'll swing it back around to Dice. And
I think this is Childers.
Oh, is that Childers? I'm sorry.
Yep. Nope. Hey, listen, I'm not going to – I called a young lady by the wrong last name for an entire half, so it happens.
Well, they're swinging the ball around and maintaining possession, and Western Hills seems happy right now to just let them do that. If they want to pass,
they want to try to step there. That was a good step there from Fricker. But again, they're just having a hard time getting, you know, out, connecting more than one or two passes.
It's Baylor Brooker picking up the ball that Diaz had put up the field. Great Crossing once again hanging on to possession.
That's Gendling on the far side, I suspect. Childers out here to Trey Redman.
You know, in that first half, it was Great Crossing that had about 65% of the possession, and according to the statistics that we're having at halftime, you know, there was actually 4 corners for Great Crossing, nothing for Western Hills. And, you know, as we start looking at this second half, Bo, I think it's shaping up that somebody that gets that first chance will be in the driver's seat to decide who wins this 41st district.
Well, we saw on a couple occasions when Western Hills did get numbers forward, they were, you know, Great Crossings was quick to kind of counter, and so that makes you a little more hesitant about pushing numbers forward.
Right. Nice play by Zach Hurst, the senior playing left back tonight. Able to take the ball away from Welch.
Here's Dice.
There he is. Hard to miss.
He is hard to miss. He's a quality player. They got a couple. They got more than a couple.
Here comes
Lucas Nance. Yeah, he's got some space. Good cutback.
That's a good
Jack
shot.
Caldwell.
Jack Caldwell has scored from the top of the box on a beautiful play by Western Hills.
That is a huge goal. Exactly what the Wolverines were looking for. Lucas Nance found some space on the outside. He played a ball across the top of the box, and Great Crossings was a little slow to react. And Jack Caldwell came flying through, and he hammers it home, hits the top post, but bounces in, and 1-0.
There wasn't a whole lot that Diaz could do in goal for that one. You had Caldwell making that run from his deep holding mid position, and once again, he was all alone there at the top of the box. That was a huge goal for Western Hills, and we talked about it. One goal is going to change how both teams play, and I'm anxious to see if Western Hills will start really backing up that back line now, and as we talked about earlier, potentially parking the bus. There's another good ball from Hernandez. Lucas Nance pushing it up, wanting more. One goal's not enough, it seems like. It's Baylor Brooker one-timing that right back into the Great Crossing center backs.
A bad giveaway.
That's Fricker from distance. And from distance, I mean, it went about 60 yards past the goal, but it was a good shot. Just a little bit of a wrong entry angle.
Well, there's 35 minutes left, so I don't think they can just park the bus. They're going to have to try to keep Great Crossings honest.
Well, I think you're right, Bo, but I think they're going to be definitely more defensive-minded.
I agree. I agree with that. You and Jason Miller called the game Thursday night, and you guys talked about that. He had a lead with 5 minutes to go, and maybe still weren't as compact in the back, and they gave away that late goal. So he doesn't want that he don't want to repeat that tonight.
Yeah, and that's another good play by Josh Lumpkins to get the ball out of danger. Western Hills has renewed energy.
They do. We talk about that all the time, how much a goal changes things. And I think you're going to see a renewed energy from Blue, too, because they kind of got lulled to sleep a little bit there, I think.
That's right.
Things were happening easy for them. They weren't under a lot of pressure. But you make one little turnover, and Western Hills was quick to counter that, man.
Great Crossing got caught ball watching a little bit, as the coaching staff will always say. Got a handball there on Great Crossing. Western Hills will start it back. Stefan Rudich will push up all of the players for Western Hills so you can put a boot to it and get ball back in play. Rudich has really come on and put some valuable minutes in for Western Hills. With Lincoln Maddox going down, Western Hills really had to retool quickly, and the answer was in the form of a senior, Stefan Rudich, who has played very well for them this year. It's a good shot, but once again, it's right at Meyer.
Yeah, from distance as well.
A little bit of a dangerous play there that Meyer is able to handle, put the ball up to midfield. Raphael Fricker trying to find someone there.
That was Jack Caldwell trying to come over. Couldn't quite win that tackle, but Lumpkins is there to clean up.
Lumpkins has read the game very well from that center back position. It's a little bit different perspective on the field, a little bit different responsibilities, but he's played well.
Again, you see a little loose in the back there from Great Crossings. It looks like Lucas Nance might be down.
I think he might have caught some studs to the ankle there.
Yeah. I don't know. Did he stop the clock?
He did stop the clock.
But the clock is still moving.
The clock is still moving. There we go.
So we got 32:30 on the clock.
We got training staff coming out. Lucas has been a very valuable player for Western Hills. To lose him for any time is going to be a painful thing. Hopefully he's going to be able to come back. He takes himself off the pitch.
Yeah, that was a pretty impressive one-footed hop.
I don't think I could have done that at my advanced age, Bo, but, he wanted to get to the bench as quick as possible and have the training staff look at him. I think he got some studs right on that ankle, and a lot of times that will end up causing a problem. He's battled some ankle injuries through the year, and hopefully it's not a return of that for the Western Hills Wolverines, because he's a hard person to replace. Leading assist person for Western Hills. He had his 6th assist tonight on that goal by Caldwell. Diaz puts that ball well out of play. Western Hills not in a hurry with the keeper way out of play. But throw in coming in from Sutley to Raphael Fricker, and unable to handle the ball. It's turned over to Great Crossing. Caleb Stratton came in to replace Lucas Nance on that right wing after the injury. Casey Smith putting some pressure on.
You know, in the last 5 minutes, we've seen several just really uncharacteristic giveaways from this Great Crossing defense.
Shaq Caldwell able to get the ball out of danger, and Zach Hurst with a nice play to beat Welch with a nutmeg there, but that's
really unlucky. I think they're going to call a handball there. Is that
rolled right up his legs, and it Fricker?
Yeah, that was Fricker. So Great Crossings will play out.
Welch trying to lead the charge for Great Crossing. Finds Flores there in the middle after passing to his brother. Flores coming down the right side, trying to find someone, but Western Hills has a lot of jerseys in front of him.
They do. He's still on the ball. He drops it to Austin Welch. He's got a guy on the backside, but chooses to go to Dice. Back to Welch.
A lot of quick passing, but with that many legs in the way, it's going to be tough to make those types of combination plays. I think Great Crossing's either going to have to swing from distance, or they're going to have to drive down the wings and hope for the cross into the head of some of their taller players. Stefan Rudich, the senior we were talking about just earlier, is going to take this free kick again. We're 30 minutes left in this second half, and right now it's a Disney story happening for Western Hills. They look to get another goal. They may pull out a district championship. And it's all going to see how this plays out in the next 30 minutes, but right now they're feeling very confident. Looks like we're getting ready to get a substitution.
They go quick there.
They did go quick. Be Joey Kurtzinger that'll be coming into the game for Western Hills.
Is this going to be his first action tonight?
It will be his first action tonight.
I didn't think we called that name. So Meyer.
It's a little bit of a mix-up between Meyer and Rudich there, it looked like. Baylor Brooker measuring the Great Crossing player on the sidelines, and they'll back the ball out and start the possession game again. Western Hills is sitting so far back that there's just no pressure on these balls as the center backs try to pick out players to pass to.
Now, anybody that has watched the games that you and I have done together, they know that you're a Bayern Munich fan. But I'm watching this game, and it's making me think of my Man City Blues. You know, folks have learned that you just sit back and just let them pass, and then you hit them on the counter. And I feel like that's what we're seeing tonight.
Yep. I agree with
you. It's worked to start the season against Man City. You know, Leicester and Leeds have both done that.
But, you know, here's something that Man City excels in, and this is a free kick from the center of the pitch, and this is danger.
This is danger. We saw a free kick from Preston Welch on Thursday night. A little closer than this. He actually went directly through the wall. He's asking for 10 yards here, so that we will restart on a whistle.
I think he was expecting to go quicker there, but
not taking much of a run up here.
No. It looks like a chip or a potential just to spot the top corner. And it's right to Meyer.
He's trying to beat that wall. He got it up and over, but he couldn't quite get it wide enough. Meyer with the save.
The wall did its job. Casey Smith fighting to keep the ball in the offensive end for Western Hills. Put the ball a row to Diaz, and here we go again, watching the possession game for Great Crossing. So older Welch looking around, finds his younger brother, trying to get the offense started.
Is this Moore? He cuts it to the left.
That's Josh Lumpkins clearing the ball again. Flores from distance, and that's a good shot.
That was a wonderful shot. Wonderful shot from Flores.
A little unlucky for Western Hills.
It was a little unlucky. Western Hills tried to clear the ball. It ricocheted off, I think, one of their own players, kind of landed on Flores. He didn't have a great angle, but he wrapped that left foot around it and beat Matthew Meyer.
And there wasn't a Western Hills player within several yards of him, so it was a good look for him and able to pick out the spot around Meyer for the goal. It was actually a pretty easy goal.
I got caught watching for a second. It's hard when I'm running the camera too tonight for folks that are joining us from home, and sometimes you get caught watching the action. I'm pretty sure I got it, but really nice goal. Kind of came out of nothing. right? You
Right.
know, it was
It seemed harmless, and it's very similar to the Western Hills goal. It seemed harmless at the time, but now we've got a 1-1 game, and this is shaping up to be quite the matchup tonight.
and I forgot to start my score bug after the Western Hills goal, so we'll get that corrected. But we need a little break in the action first. The clock you can see behind us, well, you can't quite see it, but it's 26:44, so we'll get that corrected in a moment. We're tied 1-1 here.
Hurst finding Joey Kurtzinger there, trying to find Wade Sutley, and he's surrounded. But
That
they're
was
able
really
to,
nice. They tried to play out there. It was Smith. Western Hills folks, I think, wanted a handball there on Great Crossings, but no call.
I think the crew tonight's done a good job thus far. Had very little questions from anybody, players, fans, etc.
Been a clean game, though. You mentioned that in the first half, and what I say by clean is you haven't had a lot of late tackles. You haven't had folks diving in. Both teams trying to play soccer here, connect passes. That's a turnover, though, and this is Welch. He was looking for
He was a little bit offsides. I think we've got an injury. I didn't catch who that is that's down on the field. Is that Fricker?
So he's going to stop the clock for us, which gives us a chance to fix the clock.
I think that's Raphael Fricker down. We couldn't catch a number. But Raphael had a game of his life against Franklin County. It was just dominating, but he's been battling some injuries, and I'm afraid one of those injuries may have just made an appearance.
Now, for those of you that didn't get to see it, head over to our Facebook page or our YouTube page. We have plays from that game, Bluegrass Energy Power Plays. And the very first play is a goal from distance, really nice goal from Raphael Fricker.
And I got a correction. That's not Raphael Fricker. That is Raul Hernandez, the sophomore.
And the goal scorer the other night in extra time. So either way, Fricker or Hernandez, it's going to be a blow to the Wolverines. It looks like we're going to get a restart on a drop ball.
Yep, and Chime Tope's come in to replace Hernandez.
He hasn't started it. There we go. I was waiting for that clock to start.
And we got 25:40 left in this second half of a 1-1 battle for the 41st District title. One of the teams that has the potential winning right now, I guess they still have an outside chance of winning. It's Frankfort, the Panthers. We got another player down for Western Hills. But
and we got a player in behind for the Great Crossings, but they weren't able to finish. Meyer with another save.
That's Chime Tope, who's limping, trying to stay on the field right now. Look like they both went down in a very similar area of the pitch, and Chime's back up, hopping around.
Speaking of pitch, this is just beautiful. We were talking about it earlier. You don't see too many soccer-only turf fields.
I mean, this whole Great Crossing complex from
just behind us is the football field. It's a really unique setup.
Both Scott County and Great Crossing
Here's
play
Welch.
their sports here.
Really good step there from Jack Caldwell.
Jack has come to play tonight, and they needed him. Tries to find Caleb Stratton.
That'll go out of play for a Great Crossings throw-in.
Well, Bo, we got about 24 and a half minutes left in this. What are you expecting to see from these coaches? We got to see a change of strategy, or are they going to keep on what they're doing right here on the field?
Well, if Coach Mangum's math is correct, a PK shootout does nothing for him, even if it's a win, right?
That's
I mean,
correct.
it's a win on the record book, but as far as the seeding's concerned,
It has no bearing.
so he really needs to win by 2 goals, and tied right now. So do you go for it and try? For the last 20, you may end up losing by a couple goals if you open yourself up. But again, if you lose this game,
You're still going to play the same team.
yeah, you're not going to fall below the 3 seed.
That's right.
The 4 seed is going to be Franklin County.
And if everything holds as we're seeing right now, I believe it'll be Great Crossing in Franklin County. And then you'll have the Panthers from Frankfort taking on the Wolverines from Western Hills. Both of those games, regardless of who plays who, will be decided on Tuesday night.
That's my understanding. We were told today that the girls are going to play on Monday. You're going to have a doubleheader of girls. That's a shot.
Oh, that's a keeper error that almost caused some problems.
That went through his hands, but just wide. Yeah, so we'll have a girls doubleheader. On the girls' side, Great Crossing is the 1 seed. They went 3-0. Western Hills is the 2 seed.
That's right.
They will face the number 3 seed Frankfort High or Franklin County. I apologize for that. Franklin County beat Frankfort High today to lock up that 3 seed, and then, as you mentioned, Frankfort High Great Crossings will be the 1-4.
Had some subs that came in on that last dead ball. You have Kenyon Thomas back in on the right wing this time. That was Fricker out to Thomas, who tries to find someone there in front of the goal. And from distance, that's it. That's Chime Tope, and he put a jolt into that one, but it goes into the night. We saw the keeper error there by Diaz that didn't amount to much, but, as the backup keeper who's only in his second start, you kind of wonder if that plays into the mind games of a keeper. I always say that.
Now, I know you said he was working out at GS Footbox. Is he a GFC keeper as well? Does he play club?
He played club previously, but he
not playing currently.
Not playing currently, as a lot of those kids, when they get their senior year, there's just not a lot of opportunities.
I agree.
And so he realized his role on this Great Crossing team and decided to put the work in to become a keeper.
And that role has changed tonight. And like you mentioned earlier, depending on the health of Moeller, it may come into play next week as well.
That's right. And that looks like we're going to have a foul.
Yeah, Rodolfo Flores.
Yeah,
good battle between him and Sutley.
Yep. And Zach Hurst going to put this ball back in play for Western Hills. But as I was talking about the keeper, a lot of keepers, it comes down to confidence, and you hate to have anything that shakes or rattles a keeper. And but Diaz seems to have rebounded from that. So we'll see if that plays out anymore as this game plays out. Ball's out of bounds. We'll have Zach Hurst throw it in. Zach Hurst has given them some good minutes out of that left back position tonight.
He really has. This is Kurt Singer that you mentioned earlier. He finds Caldwell. Looks like Caldwell is slotted back into that center back role.
I think they gave Rudich a break.
Great Crossings player. Welch had a guy in front, but I think he just tracked off sides.
Oh, that's a nice run by Welch, trying to find somebody. Cuts it back, and here's a potential for a shot, but just not hit well.
That was Hamner.
Yeah.
And I think that was Moran that made that run in behind.
It was, and, that was the very similar type play, opposite sides of the field from the magic that Welch was able to wield against Frankfort. So they tried for the same thing where he's centering it back to the top of the 18 for a shot, but this time he didn't have that pinpoint accuracy from his striker. It's Chime Tope on the ball.
Good little turn there.
They're trying to work the ball up. That's Kenyon Thomas finding Raphael Fricker in the middle of the pitch, and they're going to swing it to Wade Sutley, the senior. Wade tracks it down, and he's going to take on.
This is Hamner.
Yep, the captain for Great Crossing. That's Hurst trying to find somebody. Joey Kurtzinger making the play.
Good little touch there to Fricker.
And Chime Tope, probably an ill-advised shot from 30, but Diaz picks it up and ball's back in play for Great Crossing. In the game of possession, Great Crossing's winning, but on the scoreboard, it's a 1-1 battle at this point.
It is 1-1. This is Trey Redman looking to play Hamner out wide.
And that's Zach Hurst shepherding the ball out once again. He has played an outstanding game at left back. Based on how Western Hills is playing tonight, I think we're probably looking at the lineup that Coach Mangum will try to roll out for district tournament because they have played well as a unit.
Flores with a little move gets around the corner. He's going to try to play a ball in.
That's a dangerous ball, but nobody's home.
It's just over the top of Meyer. Dropped out here. Is this Welch?
There's Welch. He's just so composed on the ball.
I think that was older Welch. This is younger Welch. He tries to put a little – I think he was trying to put a little finesse on it and bend it into that top corner, but didn't didn't quite get what he wanted out of it. Meyer collects.
You saw that ball end up on his foot after a deflection again, and I thought we were potentially looking at the same type of goal that you saw in the first strike for Great Crossing. That's Eddie Nafor, who's out on the field now for the Wolverines, pressuring the ball.
Nafor is a name that's well known within Frankfort. One of his brothers, Elma, is playing professionally in
that's Flores
Nebraska.
Again.
Is that right?
Or
Omaha? Omaha.
It is Nebraska.
Omaha is in Nebraska, but I was trying to think
of the team.
Yeah, it's a USL2 team. I've caught a couple of their streams on ESPN3.
And I'll tell you that the whole family is a very talented soccer family.
I coached Attell when she was young. I was talking this morning about her crew. Attell was on that team, and there was another young lady named Ashley Chindo who ended up at Henry Clay. Both were really good players.
That's Wade Sutley coming in. He's got Raphael Fricker, who's onside, and he's trying to cross.
This is Nafor.
And it's put right at Diaz.
Yeah.
He tried to lift it up over.
That was a really nice little combination in there. And
that was a great play there by Wade Sutley and Raphael Fricker. And Nafor with a shot that tried to chip the keeper, it looked like, but just didn't have enough to get over the outstretched reach of Connor Diaz.
Yeah, we mentioned Elmo. We mentioned Attell. We don't want to go without mentioning Eman. Emmanuel Nafor, he is the oldest of the three brothers. He's the DOC up at United Soccer Club in Louisville. Played college and has coached in high school. He was a coach at Western Hills for a while. He's a graduate of Western Hills. And
that we had the run out there for
that was a little
crossing.
surprising. I thought he had time to maybe take a touch and create a little bit better angle. He also had Moran on the far side.
And I think, Jack Caldwell made a good run at him and kind of cut him off from where he was wanting to go. Western Hills playing a little bit of possession game now.
Well, we talked about, fatigue on the Western Hills side, but, Great Crossings had a tough game Thursday. Extra time. It was highly competitive and emotional game, and so it's hard to do that back-to-back. One night's rest,
Yep. See Raphael Fricker getting a break, and it looks like Joey Kurtzinger is also going to join him on the bench. Jack Caldwell will push back up to the 6th position, and Stefan Rudich will linger back on that back 4 again. Great Crossing with the throw-in. Just not the game that they were wanting to play tonight, and you can see it. They want to keep possession and be able to.
Here we go. We're back. All right, folks, we're back. I don't know what happened there. We had some kind of power malfunction.
But we're still here at 1-1 with 14 and a half minutes left, and we'll have Matthew Meyer bringing Western Hills back on the offensive move with the goal kick here.
Had a little power misfunction there. That was feels like every time we do this, we have some kind of weird situation occur, but thankfully we were able to get that back for you.
So I'd say maybe we need a little bluegrass.
I was panicking there for a minute because I was like, this is a great game.
That's Chimay Tope in the midfield, looking to find somebody to combine with, and you see Great Crossing bringing 4 to push him off the ball.
This is Aiden Bryant. He's looking for Moran.
Tristan
Winding that left.
Footed. Good shot. Moran's a club player for Georgetown Football Club. He was the game-winning PK against Frankfort on Thursday night. I hate to keep bringing that up, Bo, but it was a good play.
It was a really nice finish.
Tope fighting for the ball there. Ian Thomas trying to pressure Great Crossing.
Great Crossing has not been very friendly to Frankfort High in their first year and a half.
Great Crossing's not been friendly to most teams in the 41st district.
You know, in the district final last year, they scored to tie it with 37 seconds left. I don't think anyone associated with Frankfort High will ever forget the number 37.
I think you're right there.
But it was a great game to watch.
After all kinds of issues that happened that night, from the game to the field to everything, it was a strange district tournament.
It was. They had a red card pretty early, and so they did play a man down. But that just tells you how strong of a team that was.
That's right.
14 seniors graduated from that group.
That was Jack Caldwell.
Interesting play there. He could have just let that go wide.
Yeah, kept it out.
But no harm.
No harm, and they're able to get the ball back in without a goal kick. Western Hill's not putting a lot of pressure on the ball right now, but it doesn't matter. They still get it back from a bad play in the midfield. We're going to have some substitutions. Looks like Casey Smith is coming in. Casey's going to replace Eddie Nafour, and we got 2 coming in for Great Crossing, trying to catch numbers. Throw in by Hurst. He's finding Jack Caldwell. Jack out here to Wade Sutley, trying to make something happen. Puts a few moves on the Great Crossing player, but he's going to back it up for possession purposes here, it looks like. Goes back to another senior, Zach Hurst. Zach plays up, finds Jack Caldwell. Jack's
That's really nice.
A little bit out of position, but he's trying to push some offensive up for the Wolverines.
It feels like Mangum's trying to go for it, so you got to appreciate that.
Yep. It's Kenyon Thomas trying to track back to stop the ball for Great Crossing, but once again, Great Crossing gets a good look, but the shot is right at the senior keeper, Matthew Meyer. It's a good shot.
It's number 16, but I don't see that name on the roster. Maybe I have the KHSAA, so I know sometimes it gets a little dated.
I'm going to be honest, I don't see a 16 on the other one. So,
you know what? I think that's Braden Ward. That's Braden Ward, because I remember Coach Maxwell telling me the other night he's listed as 36, but he said he is wearing 16.
That's right. Good shot, but as we said, right at the keeper Meyer. We're down to 10 minutes and 20 seconds left in this second half.
That was a lot like that shot from Nafour. Both he and Ward had a little bit of time. They didn't quite get enough power on their shot. And we remain tied, 1-1.
Josh Lumpkins fielding the ball there and pumps it right back in for the team, and we have a mishandle there. Handling is the term.
This is a dangerous area. I don't know that this is an area where you'll shoot on frame, but what am I saying? Raphael Fricker hit one from here.
That's exactly what I was thinking, and you know who's lining up for this one. The confidence was flowing on Thursday night against Franklin County. We'll see if he's able to kindle some of that magic here. Got the wall set up. It's going to be a 3-man wall. Western Hills looks like they're going to be crashing the boards for the rebound.
Pretty high line here. They're right even with the wall, trying to give Diaz a little space.
Fricker way off target with that one.
Just
not the effort he was looking for.
That's not the technique that he has either. So
got a little under that one. He was worried about the wall.
Well, it is hard to get it up and down, although from that distance he has a little bit more opportunity to do that. But just under 9 left. If we are tied, we've talked a lot about the seeding ramifications. That doesn't matter. We have to have a winner tonight. So we will go to up to 2 5-minute golden goals, and then PKs if we were still tied. Even if PK a winner from either side.
There's another foul from Fricker. He may get another chance, and I will say that we had Raul Hernandez, who went out earlier with injury, back and was able to connect with him on that pass. I think Coach Mangum has found the lineup he likes, and he's not had the subs that he's had in previous matchups. And this time we're going to have Wade Sutley take a rip. He's chipping it in through the wall, but right to Connor Diaz. Wasn't the way that Coach Mangum drew it up on the chalkboard, that's for sure.
It wasn't, and Great Crossings is quick to try to get in the attack. That's Raul Hernandez, and I think that's a little harsh.
I think he had the arm up, and
that may have been. I didn't have the angle that the referee did. I just saw him. It looked like he got in between the ball and the man, and.
We've seen that called down here on the Western Hills end, and I think sometimes you see it again.
If it's consistent, you'll take it. This is a pretty quick kick. Is he going to allow that?
He did allow that. That was a quick kick. He didn't ask for the 10.
Was that Austin Welch?
That was Austin Welch, and, it was a quick hit, and he never asked for the 10, and guess what? He puts it in the back of the net.
So Austin Welch on a free kick.
A little gamesmanship there from Great Crossing.
That's really tough to see. Western Hills Matthew Myers was trying to set his wall. Austin Welch got his head up, quickly just played the ball to the far side of the goal. And
that, I'll say as a former coach, one of the instructions we always gave was the holding midfielder goes up and stops those types of plays by standing right in front of the ball.
Well, we saw that a couple of times Thursday night at both places where kids, and in fact, Great Crossings was yellow carded for encroachment. But nonetheless, the referee, he just gave an explanation to Coach Mangum. You can see him on the far side.
Yeah, hate to see something like that happen this late in a district matchup, but the play will stand, and Great Crossing is now up 2-1.
2-1. The clock starts back with 7 minutes, and
it's Wade Sutley playing with some vigor there to try and get a throw in for Western Hills. He wins that battle. Great Crossing pushes the ball out. Zach Hurst looking for the throw in here. Wade Sutley's going to take it.
Yeah, I don't think that was a throw. I think he was giving it to Sutley. It looked like a throw in, though, didn't it?
That ball does set up nicely for Hernandez, who tries the shot, but it finds no home. It's an easy ball in for Diaz. We're down to 6.5 minutes left in this 41st district matchup. Western Hills. That's a foul.
So is the third time the charm here?
We don't know, but this is from about 40. They chip it in looking for somebody, and they found no one. Rootage there at midfield, being challenged by Moran. Just make them use a lot of energy and take a little bit of time. It's Raphael Fricker trying to find Thomas on the right wing, and that looks like a foul, and nothing is called.
No call there. Western Hills maintains possession.
See a lot of bodies hitting the ground now.
You can definitely see there's a lot more white moving forward too. Western Hills is trying to get this game tire. They're trying to repeat what Franklin County did to them the other night when they were up 2-1. Franklin County got a late tire, so they're trying to get that equalizer.
See it. They're ending up really getting frantic here, and with that frantic activity, they're not really connecting on those passes. We got 5 minutes and 15 seconds left in this, and it's about time for Western Hills to start throwing everything at Great Crossing to try and tie this up after that controversial goal from Welch. Western Hills trying to press, but Great Crossing with the possession advantage thus far was able to beat it. Got Caden Thomas coming down the right wing again looking for friends, and he found one. And they're able to play it off of the Great Crossing player for a throw in here.
They've got a couple of substitutions as well. We're under 5 minutes, so any substitutions by Great Crossings will be a stoppage in clock.
Stephen Rudich going to track back, and he's going to play it back to the senior Meyer. Meyer's going to swing it around, and Western Hills goes back on the offense. 4.5 minutes left. Finds Zach Hurst with acres of space, looking up the field, trying to find someone, but he finds only a Great Crossing player.
This is 16, Braden Ward. He finds Welch. He decides to go backwards. I think this is, I'm not sure who 8 was. It's not Hamner. Hamner's been out here all night.
Yep.
That's Trey Redman.
No, Great Crossing now is just content to pass the ball, but there we had a turnover.
Turnover, and this is Smith. Going to earn a free throw in, sorry.
Smith looking for somebody. Finds Raul Hernandez. A lot of bodies in there, in and around the ball.
Going to be another throw here for Western Hills.
Western Hills starting to put more and more numbers up on the offensive end, trying to find somebody to take a shot. And you have Chinmay Tope taking that shot from distance. Or no, I'm sorry, that was Raul Hernandez taking that shot.
And with that, we're going to have a substitution.
And they've stopped the clock at 3:14.
Yeah, the official time is 3:14. I was within 2 seconds, so it's not bad.
That's right.
It's kind of hard to keep up with that sometimes. I got to say, I'm just kind of reflecting on what just happened, and that's just a terrible way to give up a goal. You have to feel for these Wolverines. They have played a tremendous game tonight, and things were going exactly the way they had ordered it for the first 45 minutes. But since then, Great Crossings has responded.
See the press coming up from Western Hills, just trying to get a turnover, as time is their enemy at this point. That's Kenyon Thomas fighting through to find the ball.
He wins it off of Dice, but couldn't connect there with Sutley.
And that's an offside play by Ward, coming back onside.
It's got to be on the other side of the field if it's offside.
Yep. Be Stephen Rudich that's going to take that. We're down to 2:43. He plays up to Zach Hurst. Zach Hurst wins the ball on a heavy challenge. Ball comes across to Casey Smith. He's going to hit Kenyon Thomas with it, but good defense by Flores clears the ball for Great Crossing. Ball comes back in. Western Hills feeling a little frantic right now, trying to get something on frame at Connor Diaz, the keeper for Great Crossing.
They're going to earn a throw in. Down to 2:10.
2:10, and we're chasing balls. That's
Great Crossings has another substitution, so if we get a break in play, we'll get a stoppage in clock as well. That's cleared out by Great Crossings, and
that's a lot of speed coming up there and just taken out of bounds by Great Crossing, and the clock keeps running. It's 1:52 left. Got a substitution coming in.
Now the clock will stop at 1:47. Looks like Preston Welch is taking a break here for the last minute or so. I think he's pretty gassed, to be honest with you. He has played 2 almost complete games in 2.5 days here. So get a little fresh legs in to see if they can close this game out.
And we got Wade Sutley coming on that ball, trying to find somebody, but he puts it right back into the teeth of the Great Crossing defense. And right now, possession is something that's not helping Western
It's really
Hills.
hard, you know. You get in these late game situations, and the urge is I got to get forward, I got to get forward, I got to get forward. But like you mentioned, it just becomes really erratic and difficult to connect passes when you're trying to play so direct. Especially that's not the way Western Hills plays.
That's right. So we got Matthew Meyer coming up. We got 1 minute left in this battle for the 41st district title. Western Hills hoping to find some life. We got a foul right in the midfield.
That was Raul Hernandez.
And you know, that was a very tactical foul as the clock is winding down.
Caldwell is going to play one in to try to get here into the mix. Is that Hernandez?
That
Ball's
was
on
Hernandez.
Smith. Sutley tries to take a touch, gets a left-footed shot off.
That was a good shot and a good save by Connor Diaz.
That was an incredible save by Connor Diaz. They're going to give up a corner kick, but I think that was on frame, Brad.
I do, and it was a good shot by Wade Sutley. It was outside of his left boot.
21 seconds left.
Great shot by Sutley, and now we'll see if we get another opportunity. And Diaz with a big save with 13 seconds left. He's going to hold it for a little while, and that clock just keeps being the enemy of Western Hills. Matthew Myers going to try and come up and do something, but we're running out of time for the Wolverines, and that'll do it. Great Crossing wins the 41st District title outright with a 2-1 win over Western Hills.
Second straight year, Great Crossing goes 3-0. We'll take that number 1 seed to next week's tournament. Brad, let's take a real quick break, get our notes together, and we'll be right back for a real quick recap. We thank you for joining us on the Bluegrass Sports Network.
Running a business takes a lot of focus and dedication. Keeping up with the ever-changing tax laws and keeping up with all the numbers behind your business, while necessary, can cause distraction and even a little anxiety. That's where Charles T. Mitchell, certified public accountants, come in. They've been helping local businesses run smoothly since 1964. They've got the experience and quality you deserve, and they'll put your mind at ease. Taxes, accounting, and assurance services for your business. Charles T. Mitchell, CTMCPA.com.
Hi, I'm Sarah Neely. I'm the financial manager at Mill Ridge Farm. Whenever you transition financial institutions, there's a tremendous amount of paperwork involved. Traditional banks streamlined this paperwork, and they just made it very simple. Traditional Bank is a locally owned bank that allows us to operate on an international platform. They make my life better, they make my job easier, and they make Mill Ridge a better place.
All right, folks. Welcome back to the Bluegrass Sports Network. I'm Bo Craycraft, joined by Brad Gross. Brad Gross is one of my best friends. Brad Thomas. Brad Gross might be watching. He's probably going to get a kick out of that. But we're taking a look here at Western Hills as they trot off the field. I know they're disappointed. Number one, that second goal, it feels like a gut shot because it's just, it's not a goal that you gave up because of a defensive mistake. But as you just mentioned off air, they played with them. I think they'll take a lot of confidence into next week.
And as we said coming into this, according to the math that Coach Mangum had, if they didn't win the game by a 2-goal advantage, the seedings were going to be the same. So, this is where you have to see the senior leadership, and you have to explain to them, you lost this game, but you may have won the battle because you showed Great Crossing that you can play with them.
Absolutely, and they were up 1-0, 45 minutes in. Couldn't quite hang on, but a lot of positive things to take from it. You saw their flexibility. Lumpkins played great. Yes. Stefan Rudick played great. Jack Caldwell with a big goal. Matthew Meyer with a couple great saves. Now on the other side, last year Nick Maxwell and his Great Crossings crew didn't have too much trouble in the regular season. This year, they were taken to the wire. And really all three of their games, they beat Franklin County 2-0, but the other were 1-goal games, right. One being a shootout. So this is not going to be a cakewalk for them next week.
No, I don't think so. And, they'll be matching up against Franklin County, who got a little of their swagger back with that game against Western Hills. Played them down to the wire, and it went to overtime, and Western Hills pulled it out. But I think that was a confidence booster for Franklin County. So anything can happen next week in this
Franklin
district
County had to take a 2-week break, so they're still trying to figure – that's what's so crazy about this year. I think they've only played like 6 games.
That's right.
And so it's impossible for them. They're trying to learn on the fly. They came down here and played Great Crossings on 2 weeks rest with no training.
Wow.
And only lost 2-0. So I'm telling you, I think next week's setting up to be crazy. We're hoping to be here next week, Tuesday night for the boys, and then for the final on Thursday night, having the girls and the boys doubleheader. It's setting up to be some really good soccer. Yeah. And if the regular season is any indication, folks, we'd love to have you join us on the Bluegrass Sports Network. But with that, after 10 games in 6 days, I'm ready for the Sabbath tomorrow. I'm actually going to live stream my church service tomorrow. It's my week to live stream, but I'm going to live stream, and then I'm going to take me a little bit of a nap on Sunday. Maybe you'll see some Bluegrass Energy power plays from tonight later in the evening tomorrow. But folks, I'm Bo Craycraft.
I'm Brad Thomas.
We thank you for joining us on the Bluegrass Sports Network. We'll see you at our next stream.